Happy Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, it's not on April the 1st. It was actually yesterday, but of course we don't broadcast on Sunday. But you know who we don't talk enough about? It's transgender people.
Especially on Easter. I was really chuffed about that one.
It is, in fact, on the 31st of March every year. So actually, that it landed on Easter was coincidental.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the date changes. So it won't be on Easter for another, I think it's 10 years. But in 10 years' time, we'll be back here again, and that'll be
yes. But there is one every year, is there?
There is one every year. It's 31st of March. But what I think you should remember is this is the holiest day of the progressive calendar. Right? This is essentially very much likened to when Jesus' return came about for Christians, the resurrection.
Is it holier than Pride Month?
Well, Pride Month isn't an individual day. Right? So
Pride
Month is like Ramadan.
Fair point, yeah.
Right? So it's a general experience of holiness.
What about Transgender Day of Remembrance? Because that's when they honour their martyrs, isn't it?
Well, that's I'm not a Christian. I don't know.
Do we have a day for Saint Floyd with the
Yeah, well, of course, Saint Floyd has a day.
Right.
I'm not progressive either. I don't have their calendar memorized anyway.
Sorry for the interruption. I'm Father Calvin Robinson, and you can watch my Common Sense Crusade at 3 p.m. on Thursdays only on lotuseaters.com, where you can sign up for as little as £5 per month. Deus Vult.
But the point being, this is the most holy day of the progressive calendar.
Yeah.
And so, as you can see, it's a venerable tradition going back all the way to 2009. I have underpants that are older than Transgender Day of Remembrance, but visibility, sorry. And I love the way it says it's founded. It was created by. It's like, well, what the hell does that mean? It was kind of declared. So it's declared in 2009. And then, as you can see, nothing happened for 6 years. But then, in 2015, a bunch of Tumblr activists noticed it, and they started posting about it on social media. And then in 2021, Joe Biden declared it as March 31st as Transgender Day of Visibility, stating, "I call upon all Americans to join in the fight for full equality for all transgender people."
Now, transgender people are remarkably visible. So this clearly isn't about just physical visibility, I'm guessing.
They definitely stand out.
Yes.
Should we say? And you're right, it's not about physical visibility. Would you like to meet the founder of Transgender?
Yes, we would.
Do we have to?
Yes.
It's this person.
Oh, Danny DeVito's penguin.
Rachel Crandall Crocker. Exactly who I expected, actually. To be honest. It's precisely what I thought the person who founded this would look like.
Yeah, for our audio listeners, it is actually...
Stunning and brave is actually what it is.
Yeah, with Roz's glasses from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
Do you think Rachel shaves first and then puts on the lipstick, or the other way around?
I don't know. I mean, I would obviously shave first because you don't want to scuff it. But anyway, this as I said, is a timeless progressive tradition that one CNN reporter, remember, he was just a wee boy, and every March 31st would be Transgender Day of Visibility. I mean, he was 20 when it was first founded, so I'm not sure how true that story is. But again, average ancient tradition. But loads of the big names are coming out in support of it, such as the ACLU of Alaska. The ACLU would have had
all the 10 people it represents there.
Yeah, no, literally, actually. So they're very stunning and brave, as you might imagine. And so it is very much a Joe Biden thing, this Transgender Day of Visibility. I mean, if you go back to the timeline Wikipedia got us, so it's just social media nobodies posting on Twitter and Tumblr. And then 6 years after that, boom, Joe Biden's like, you know what? It is that thing. Good point. This is the current thing. I have been radicalized by my phone. And so we have arrived at this point where now Joe Biden is posting it's Transgender Day of Visibility. Today on Transgender Day of Visibility, this most holy of days, I have a simple message to all trans Americans. I see you, which is a bit weird.
It's surprising for Biden. Maybe he located his glasses finally.
Joe Biden's just staring at you, just looking.
You'd think his sense of smell was much better than his sense of vision, wouldn't you?
I mean, he didn't post this, obviously.
Obviously.
Corinne Jean-Pierre or whatever runs his Twitter account, so...
You are made in the image of God. You're worthy of respect and dignity.
It would be so funny if you meet God and it turns out. No, I can't say that. Sorry, editors, snip that bit out.
Right, so there's 10 minutes and 30 minutes.
So, the doctrine here,
Yep.
as celebrated on Easter Sunday,
Yep.
purely coincidentally, not at all with glee, is that you are made in the image of God, but somehow he buggered it up along the way and transplanted.
Put you in the wrong body.
Yeah. God makes mistakes, but also you're made in the image.
But at least we have arrived at the point where it's consensus agreement. This is a religious cult.
Oh yeah, Satan also recognizes God exists.
Sure, Satan's also, the divine principle is still in play. It's not all pure materialism. They at least believe that there is something divine going on. It's just the interpretation of which religion, and this is Joe Biden's one. But as you see, there's a slight play towards the Christians there. It's like, well, I mean, are they not also God's children? It's like, yeah, I'm sure you're such a devout believer. But, you've got no problem banning religious themes on the White House Easter egg annual event for military families. It's like, why would you, what are you having an Easter event for if there's no religious theme that undergirds it?
Well, chocolate does tempt children to the White House.
To be fair, at this point, especially, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in the UK, you'd be hard pushed to find an Easter egg that's commercially sold that has any sort of religious iconography on it.
Have you seen the Ramadan figures that Kit Kat put out?
Yeah. But no, that is true. I mean, it's not like our Easter eggs have crosses on or anything.
Yeah.
But they're not forbidden from having crosses on.
No.
Right? Unlike at Joe Biden's event where he's like, yeah, no, Christianity.
And how do they enforce that? Do they have Secret Service searching your bag for secret crosses or something?
Well, they have put them all on the list. Do you know that the FBI put the rosary on a watch list as an extremist symbol last year?
Obviously, people like Vivek Ramaswamy are like, hang on a second. This is an attack on Christianity. It's like, well, yes and no. It's an attack on white people, actually. Right? But they just view Christianity as a white religion, because most Americans are Christians and also white. They wouldn't attack Christianity if it was
only the Jamaicans that did it.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't attack Christianity, but because it's you, that's why they're doing it. But yeah, no. Anyway, let's carry on because Biden really is committed to this. Here's Joe Biden's personal account, again probably run by the diversity hire, where he says a different message on the same day on the same subject. On Transgender Day of Visibility, we celebrate the joy, strength, and absolute courage of some of the bravest people I know. Today, we show millions of transgender and non-binary Americans that we see them. They belong, and they should be treated with dignity and respect. Yeah, like when they're stealing women's clothes. That's brave, man. That's really brave. And not that particular dress, but there was this. The reason this person, I don't know what their pronoun.
Sam Brinton.
Yeah, no, I know his name, but I don't know how to refer to them in the third person. But the reason they got caught is because there was one African-American fashion designer who designed not that dress, but a particular dress that was red and black. And she had only made one of it. And he turned up wearing it in public after stealing her luggage. And she was like, I know you've done it because there was one of those made and it was mine because I made it. The woman did get her clothes back in the end as well, and he got arrested.
I'm not sure you'd
like
want them back, would you?
Accounts now. Oh yeah, you just No.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd wear it either, but like,
no, I'd burn the dress at this point.
But the point is, it's pretty brave to steal someone's clothes and then wear them out in public.
To be fair, I don't have the kahunas to walk down the street in a dress.
Yeah. So Joe Biden is right. It is joy, strength, and courage. Bravest people he knew. But anyway, so then we've got the White House. My goodness, have we not visibilized these people enough? Transgender people are part of the fabric of our nation. On Transgender Day of Visibility, our administration honors the extraordinary courage of transgender Americans and reaffirms our commitment to forming a more perfect union where all people are treated equally. That's interesting. Because it turns out it's unless they're Hispanic, in which the Biden administration will not recognize that they are transgender and that they are visible. They literally won't see them. They'll celebrate Cesar Chavez Day on the Spanish language account, but not mention Trans Day of Visibility.
Okay. Oh,
it's
right. Okay,
only the white people.
So there's a Spanish version of the Twitter feed.
Yes,
and it just doesn't mention the alphabet people.
They don't get their day in Spanish. It's binary. for the Spanish people.
Well, yes, that's a bit like, again, it's a bit like the Holy Month,
Yes.
Pride Month. Is all the corporations, they change their logos to rainbow flags.
Apart from the Arabic ones.
Yes.
Yeah, really weird, isn't it? So, more perfect union, we're all treated equally unless you're Hispanic, and then you're below recognition for the Biden administration. But anyway, let's carry on, because Kamala Harris, obviously, trans rights are human rights. What's a trans right then? How is it substantively different to anything else? But she says, on Transgender Day of Visibility, we celebrate transgender and non-binary Americans. Their courage has given countless others strength. They're holding up America. But no one should have to be brave by themselves. We see you, we stand with you. We won't stop fighting for you. Okay, so we're fighting for transgender people. That's 1%, optimistically, of the American population, and I'm sure Kamala Harris won't stop fighting until that's 100% of the American population.
We can't talk about the growing proportion of each generation. We can't break down that percentage by age demographic, could we?
No, but
that
it doesn't
would suggest awful things.
Let's just assume that it's a consistent slice through all demographics. That implies that there are about 300. So there are 330 million, 360 million Americans. Unsure. That implies there are more American transgenders than there are Celtic people in the British Isles. If it's 1%, there'd be 33 million.
I want that as a mod for Total War.
Oh no, sorry, it'd be 3.3 million. So there's more transgenders than Welsh in America. Like, isn't that just like, it's a bit much, isn't it?
A bunch of Scottish lads in their kilts with their battle axes, and then the other side with their wobbling things that they,
There are more transgenders in America than there are Irish in Ireland. Like, just saying, I'm not sure it is actually 1%. I'm just saying. But anyway, Kamala Harris is going to fight until that's far more than 1%. So let's go to the Democrats. Oh yeah, there we go. Trans rights, human rights. I was worried. I was seeing every other account do this, but I was thinking, well, are the Democrats going to do it? Are they not going to do it?
They're really not holding back, are they?
Do you know who took the longest to do this? It was Nancy Pelosi. She had tweeted about Easter, Cesar Chavez, and then trans rights.
Well, it's because it's really hard to type when your fingers are shaking because you're drunk at 9 a.m.
Quite possibly. But anyway, the Democrats say trans rights are human rights. On Transgender Day of Visibility, we honor the courage and resilience of transgender and non-binary Americans and celebrate their many contributions to our country. It's not easy to be a trans person unless all of the power structures are behind you. Here's the education secretary who says, quote, "We need you."
He said that that parents should not be the primary stakeholders in their children's education.
Yep. And he needs trans people. I mean, he says in this little monologue, "We need you."
The message from the Biden administration after the Covenant High School shooting in Tennessee, committed by a trans person, was that transgender Americans are the backbone of our nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got a really venomous taste in my mouth looking at all of this.
Yeah. I mean, they did say there were 7 victims of that shooting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which was
they did that bloody
pretty
thing with
shocking.
7 fingers, didn't they?
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not really on board with that. But anyway, I think that we really have to side with Secretary Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, who seems to want trans imperialism. Transgender people deserve to live authentically, safely, and with dignity. We will continue to fight for a world in which trans people can live safely and openly as themselves.
He confused GAE with GAY, clearly.
Yeah. But that seems to imply that he's giving himself a mandate. If there's a country over there that doesn't agree, well, you're getting the George Bush treatment.
Well, and he is literally the guy that is basically responsible for raining bombs down on foreign nations if they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Yes, we're going to fight for a world in which trans people can do whatever, and that means the Iranians are in trouble.
Didn't Uganda get sanctioned for not being trans something?
They tried to criminalize same-sex rape, and then the UN said you're trying to criminalize homosexuality, which was a very weird self-report, and then the US decided to try and sanction them.
Because, I mean, how much longer is it going to be before the US is just openly bombing countries because they're not trans enough?
Well, they won't be able to,
according to Antony Blinken.
They won't be able to bomb Iran, though, because Iran is a really high trans... Yeah, so John Bolton will be really upset by this new policy change, actually.
Fair point. I mean, Syria is probably in trouble, though. Russia. Well, I mean, there are a few people that are going to get imperialized for not being trans enough. But what I found really interesting was who didn't come out and show that they were committed to this new religion that is going to transform the world, literally. Barack Obama only posted about Easter on Easter Sunday.
Strange.
Actually kind of wholesome.
Why would he disrespect his wife like this?
Well, no, kids doing egg and spoon. And speaking of his wife, she didn't post anything either. She just retweeted him.
Huh.
I was like, right, okay, that's interesting. The Obamas are...
Well, she doesn't want to draw attention, does she? I mean...
No, this hideous slander. Like, you know...
Is it?
Well, look, Obama just likes muscle mummies, okay? It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We've got absolutely no proof of the disgusting rumors. But this is normal and wholesome, actually. And
yes.
This is what you would expect a normal politician to post. Whereas Joe Biden's like, yeah, so every single person who thinks they're the opposite gender...
It's even got white children in the video.
Yeah, I know. This is a totally normal... It's like from 2008 or something.
Yeah.
This video.
This is pre-post-racial America vibes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just totally normal. And that's really interesting, isn't it? You know, Joe Biden and his whole cabal are like, yeah, we're going to bomb the entire world to make sure that you can do whatever you want to do.
Wear a lovely frock.
Yeah, and Joe Biden and Barack Obama's just being normal. And so you kind of think, you must think of Joe Biden as a total dead weight on his political
legacy.
Career.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's come over to the UK, who, of course, could it have been, but the Labour Party. We're like, oh my God, something's happening in America. We have to tweet about this. Fascinating. Thank you, Labour Party. Just to be clear, the Labour Party hasn't changed. They haven't changed. They're still going to promote all of this nonsense. They're still an insane woke progressive party. They're just not as woke as the Conservatives.
Well, they're the other, woke progressive party.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? The Conservatives did not post anything about this, which, I mean, you can imagine there must have been a hell of a argument behind the scenes in the Conservative Party.
There were going to be a lot of angry WhatsApps from MPs and group chats.
Yeah.
So Miriam Cates and Nick Fletcher would probably...
The heart of the Conservative Party is like, guys, can we just post about transgenders? And the brain of the Conservative Party is like, look, just don't. We're already below 20%. Come on, just don't. Just shut up. Anyway, they left it to the Mayor of London, who posted this flag. Are you familiar with this flag?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the asexual pride?
No.
Is it not?
The bisexual pride.
Oh, right.
It's the bisexual, transgender, racial, gay pride flag.
So they've got another arrow coming in from the other side.
Yeah.
War on two fronts now.
Yeah. I mean, I think the gays are probably not going to be able to win this.
Well, they're in a pincer movement from the
exactly.
start. So, in fact, which one is the gays?
They're the middle ones. That's the middle flag. Right. And so you've got the trans and the blacks and the browns on one side. You've got the bis and the blacks and the browns on the other side. And they are conquering the gays, which is a weird symbology, but
aren't they?
The symbology is actually quite accurate, though, because gay people think bisexual people are really greedy and so shouldn't be part of the LGBT whatever acronym. And you've got loads of the LGBs that don't like the Ts. So this is actually representative of a war within the coalition.
But anyway, as good progressives, we, of course, support all of these things. You know who's a bad progressive? Elon Musk, who decided to apparently remove all instances of pronouns from Twitter. Of all the days to do it.
Yep.
Is it really? Beep, gone.
I do quite like Elon. He's good.
Yeah, he does seem to be on the right side of things, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so happy Transgender Day of Visibility. I hope you all felt very seen.
We appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. You can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content on the site, such as the Contemplation series, this episode on Ruby Ridge. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.